You think your memory is failing you, but what if it's doing exactly what it was designed to do? You can't recall the peaceful mornings, the laughter at dinner, the days when nothing went wrong, but you remember vividly that one sentence someone said 5 years ago that made your chest tighten. This is not imbalance, this is architecture. Your brain operates on something psychologists call negativity bias, the tendency to register, store, and recall unpleasant experiences more easily than pleasant ones. Because for most of human history, forgetting something good meant missing pleasure. Forgetting something bad meant death. So your nervous system evolved with a hidden filter. Pleasure is optional. Pain is instruction. When something threatens you, even socially, your amygdala activates like an alarm system. Heart rate increases, attention narrows, the moment becomes sharp. And then your hippocampus steps in. Its job is memory consolidation, deciding what gets stored long-term and what fades into background noise. But here's the detail most people never realize. The amygdala can override it. When an experience carries emotional threat, embarrassment, rejection, betrayal, the amygdala tells the hippocampus, "Save this, we may need it to survive later." And suddenly, that moment is not just remembered, it's branded. You receive 10 compliments at work. Great job. Loved your presentation. You're really improving. They pass through you like light through glass. But one person says, "I expected more from you." And now it's midnight, and you're replaying the tone of their voice. Because your brain doesn't measure memories by fairness, it measures them by potential danger. Social rejection once meant exile from the tribe. Exile meant exposure. Exposure meant death. So your nervous system treats humiliation like a wound. This is called emotional tagging. The more emotionally charged the experience, the more likely it is to be stored in vivid sensory detail, tone of voice, facial expression, even the temperature of the room. Meanwhile, the good moments, they're safe, predictable, and safety doesn't require remembering. Your mind quietly concludes, "This won't hurt us later, let it go." Rule card. The brain doesn't remember what feels good, it remembers what feels dangerous. But if pain is stored for survival, why does it start to define who you are? The strange part isn't that pain stays, it's that pleasure quietly disappears without asking permission. You finally get what you wanted, the job, the relationship, the message that says, "I miss you." And for a moment, there's relief, warmth, certainty, a sense that something is finally right. But a few days later, the emotional charge is gone. Not because it meant nothing, but because your brain has already adjusted. This is called hedonic adaptation. Your nervous system constantly recalibrates your emotional baseline so that what once felt extraordinary becomes normal, expected, safe, invisible. Good experiences release dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward and motivation. But dopamine isn't designed for memory, it's designed for movement. It tells you, "That was good, do it again," and then it fades. Pain, on the other hand, floods the system with cortisol and norepinephrine, stress hormones that heighten attention and encode detail. Not just what happened, but how it felt, which means your best day motivates you for a while, but your worst day becomes part of your operating system. Now add something deeper, attachment theory. Your early relationships teach your nervous system what love is supposed to feel like: consistency or unpredictability, safety or emotional withdrawal. So when someone accepts you calmly, steadily, it feels familiar. But when someone pulls away, ghosts you, criticizes you, loses interest without explanation, your system lights up, because rejection violates the one thing your brain is always trying to predict: connection. Imagine this. Someone loves you for years. They support you, stay loyal, show up every day. And then one day they leave, suddenly. The years blur, but that final silence, it echoes. This is known as prediction error. The brain remembers what violates expectation, especially when that violation threatens emotional safety, because what was predictable yesterday is now unstable today, and instability is danger. Rule card. The mind forgets what confirms your safety, but never what disrupts it. So if pleasure fades and pain imprints, what happens when your identity is built from what hurt you most? Memories don't just record your life, they edit it. Over time, what you remember becomes the story you tell yourself about who you are, not objectively, but convincingly. Psychologists call this your narrative identity, the internal autobiography your mind constructs to create continuity between your past and your present. A storyline that answers one silent question: what kind of person am I in this world? And here's the problem. Negative memories are more emotionally detailed, more rehearsed, more frequently revisited, so they become structural. You don't just remember the time you were rejected, you remember what it meant. I'm too much. I'm not enough. I always get left. The brain's default mode network, active when you're alone with your thoughts, begins looping these interpretations in the background, not as memories, as conclusions. You replay the argument in the shower, the breakup on your commute, that one moment from childhood that still makes your stomach drop when you think about it. Maybe a teacher laughed when you answered incorrectly. Maybe your parent went silent when you cried. Maybe someone you trusted didn't defend you when it mattered. The event ends, but the meaning metastasizes. This is called rumination, repetitive mental rehearsal that strengthens the emotional pathways linked to a memory. Every replay isn't passive, it's reinforcement. And with each revisit, the memory undergoes reconsolidation, which means it's not just remembered, it's rewritten, often in darker ink. Meanwhile, the good memories, the praise, the affection, the small victories don't fit the narrative that pain helped construct, and your brain prefers consistency over accuracy, so it quietly discards what contradicts the identity formed around hurt, because changing the story would require uncertainty, and uncertainty feels unsafe. Rule card. You don't remember pain because it happened, you remember it because it explains you. But if your identity is built from what hurt you, is it protecting you or imprisoning you?